Ask me if I'm a little nervous on this thing. Yeah. Hey there folks, this is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Welcome back to another awesome day here at the mega shop here on the Stoney Ridge Farm. We are this close to being done, so there's only a few more things that have to be done with this building. I'm gonna take you guys around, we're gonna talk to you, give you some food for thought. This is just basically a progress update on the mega shop building. These guys have about 2 more days worth of work to do. They've got some trim pieces to put in, a few other little odds and ends, and a few things that I saw that I had questions about. So they're going to take care of all that, and we're going to talk to you guys about what you need to know when you do build a steel building structure like this. So there are a few things that you need to know about the insulation. There are a few things you need to know about the roofing, the screw placement, and all that stuff. We're going to take you through and give you some of the details there. And my concrete guy's on the way, and we're going to get an estimate for putting an apron on the outside of this building right here so we can park vehicles out and start working in the mega shop. All right, folks, welcome to the Stoney Ridge Farm channel. If this is your first time here, please pound that like button. If it's your millionth time here, please hit that like button. All around us is a first generation 150-acre cattle farm, and this is part of the farm. This is gonna be the farm shop slash farm office slash butcher shop, and potentially could have a living space in it right here. So a barn dominium type home in the future. Not quite sure yet, but we'll see where life takes us, right? So we're gonna go inside here. There is no power at the moment, just so you guys know. So don't have power, don't have plumbing, don't have anything really inside here other than just the structure that's going up. Before we go inside, we're going to talk a little bit about the wall panels and how they're all attached. So this is where our bay doors are going to fit, and these are 10 by 10 bay doors. There are 3 of those, and then there's a 12 by 12 down here. I wanted it big enough to where I could fit a dump truck or a tractor trailer type truck inside there. So that's why we did one big door on this end. This will be the storage end, and this will be the business end. So there'll be a lot of work getting done here. We've got a 2-post lift from Northern Tool and a 4-post lift from Northern Tool. All sorts of awesome toolboxes, banners. We've got so much fun to have here. A lot to go. So let's talk about how the wall panels are attached real quick and give you guys a little bit of food for thought in case you're considering building your own shop like this. That's what this is all about. When I mess up, I'll tell you, and when I do right, I'll tell you. So we'll show you exactly what we have going. So on the outside, I went with a sandstone type color with a little bit of a red trim. It's a barn red trim. Up on the roof, we have what's called Galvalume. Galvalume is just an aluminized or galvanized roofing material. And each one of these panels is 3 feet wide, okay? So you got an entire panel, and you can see there are screws on the ridge right here. Those screws are stitch screws, okay? They're a shorter screw, and that attaches the ridges of these 3-foot panels. So you've got a panel that starts here and ends right here. Now we've got 1 panel basically per foot per dip that attaches to the inside piece right here, okay? So we've got purlins on the roof, I think is what you call them, and you guys tell me what you call those critters right there, the side supports right there. So we're gonna attach to the outside, and you can see those screws come through about every foot, and this insulation panel is between the outside panel and the inside panel. So those are called girts or girders, okay? That goes right along. You can see all the screws are just self-tapping screws that go through there, and that holds our insulation in place. This is a lot of steel, guys. You can also see up here, we're gonna have a gutter here in just probably by the end of the day, and that overhangs just enough to let it fall right into the gutter. There are a few things we need to check up on the roof, make sure everything is square before we let these guys leave, but they're a pretty professional outfit. This is all from my friends at DWS. DWS Steel Structures. They're out of Stokesdale, North Carolina. If you need one, right there is the number, and I'll post a link to their website down there in the video description. Guys, it's important that you get up on the roof. It's important that you check the roof over and that you make sure you're not seeing those screws that I was telling you about, okay? Those screws that might be broken off, they need to make sure they replace those screws appropriately. So we're gonna get down here, we're gonna take a little walk. What you're doing is you're walking the roof right here, and you'll see my shadow a little bit. You're making sure there are no kinks going across here anywhere where somebody might have stepped in the wrong place and caused a kink. What that's gonna do is cause rust later on in the future. So you want to make sure of that. You want to make sure all your screws are nice and secure. You see, about every 16 inches or so, our screws are in place right here on the ridge and right here in the valley. The ones in the valley hold the roofing material down. The ones on the cap on this little ridge right here are what holds everything together, okay? And there's that mastic we were talking about that's in between the roof panels. Now, if you're questioning whether the mastic is in place, you can always look down on the end and you can tell. You can always take a business card and slide up under here until you hit that mastic. So that's something that's really important, guys, something you need to pay attention to. You look out here on the end and you want to make sure that your end line here is straight, all right? If it's not straight, what we're gonna run into is this overhang will stick out too far and it will not fall, the water will not fall into the gutter. So it's very, very important. It's also very important that the screws are zipped in as per the engineered drawing plans right here so that we don't get water penetration and ice penetration, because this is where your snow load and your ice is gonna sit, freeze, and thaw, okay? So as it does that, it's gonna move, expand and contract, and try to push those panels up. If they're not properly secured, then you're gonna be in deep, deep trouble. And that's the lifeblood of your building. That's the roof. Isn't that awesome? All right, gracias. Again, we're all trimmed out right here for our garage doors, and our garage bay doors will be coming very soon. There's still another piece of trim that needs to go up here. These guys are in here tightening everything up. What you need to know is that your insulation also needs to be tight or taut, okay? You can see how this is really tight. You can almost not see the seam, but there is a seam right here. This serves as your vapor barrier as well as your insulation. It's R13 on the walls and R19 on the ceiling. We chose a very reflective roofing material so that the building stays cooler. It is 90 degrees outside right now and it's about 70 degrees in here, so absolutely awesome. These are, again, our steel beam construction. This is an engineered, custom built building, and it's cheaper than putting a pole barn up. The width is 50 feet. We're 125 feet long, okay? That's how it all works. You can see right here, we've got these supports right here that help keep everything squared up and tight. The building is squared up first, then they put these in to support. And you can see them right up here in the top also. There's also a frame right here, which helps to support. You can see there's no frame there, but it's framed out right here where this big door is. And that helps to support the building and provide support for the wind load. And this building is rated at 125 miles an hour, I do believe, either 115 or 125 mile an hour wind rating. Got several types of doors here. This is a factory built, pre-engineered door. This has no window. This is out the back. Got a lot of work to go here. It has a closer on it. So when you order a building like this, you can order these doors with closers and they're installed. There's another door similar to that with glass in it over there. Those are heavy duty commercial doors. Now I also used residential windows in this building right here, and you can see we've got our residential windows installed. These are double hung windows. They're from Lowe's. There's a fella out there getting to work, putting in trim. You can also see I use double hung windows because it's nearly impossible to clean a single hung window, especially on the second floor. And I think these windows are from United Window. Now I also know I'm gonna have a balcony up here on the second floor. This is also for accessing and bringing larger things into the top story of this building right here. So I put 2 sliding glass doors in here just so I'd have access, and that's gonna be a second floor. Down here you see some plumbing fittings, guys. This is gonna be a wham bam learn a lot video. So we got plumbing fittings. We have a clean out right here. All our plumbing fittings for any sort of bathroom fixtures that might be in here, bathtub, sink, a commercial sink, and this is gonna be a butcher shop area. This is gonna be a farm office area right here. So all of this will be framed in inside after these guys leave with wood. We'll also have what's called a mezzanine. So there'll be a 16-foot overhang that comes out right here and drops, and there'll be storage from right here all the way down to the end of the building, and that's about 80 feet right there. This area that's gonna be finished is 28 by 50. 50 feet this way, 28 feet this way. Each one of these bays is 28 feet, okay? There are 4 28-foot bays, hence 112 by 50. Now, one thing that I need to do, and this trim is all going up here very soon. These are gutters and trim. one thing that I have to do is install this front door. I did buy all of my doors and windows from my local Lowe's. And I will tell you guys, if you have a local window and door company, use those folks, okay? I love Lowe's. I support what Lowe's is about. It's a local North Carolina company. However, and they've stood by their product too, which is a good thing. However, sometimes you need that expert advice that you can't get from a box store. So do I recommend going to Lowe's? I went to Lowe's. I got my doors. Everything's successful, but we did have a few little hiccups. Lowe's took good care of me, that's for sure. So that's awesome. Now, let's look at these and we'll talk to you about how these beams are attached. So they're attached with a bolt system. This bolt system goes down, you can see right here, and there'll be some extra bolts, extra parts left over here for the future if there ever were any expansion. But the bolts bolt these beams down, and there is a footing, concrete footing, huge piece of concrete up underneath here. So our concrete pad cost, along with the footings, was about $68,500 just for the concrete and the footings. For the doors, and you guys need to know this for sure, our door cost is about $30,000 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 roll-up doors with 2 automatic door openers. That's expensive, guys, really expensive. So something to think about. And again, we don't even have electricity in here, so we've got to have our high bay lights. That's a video coming soon. We got to build our mezzanine. That's a video coming soon. There's just so much information. Now, when you're having a building done like this, you want to inspect, closely inspect your insulation. You want to make sure there are no holes in the insulation and that there's no sag or droop. And what you can see here is that it's really tight right here. And these just basically butt together. There's a wide seam right here, okay? They basically butt together. You want to go further, you can always tape this off for a tighter vapor barrier. We will have a wood stove in this shop. The wood stove will be mounted approximately here, and that's what we're going to use to heat the shop in the wintertime. We don't need it to be 85 degrees in here. We just need to be warm enough to work and get out of the cold. Here in North Carolina, our temperatures don't get that low, and we don't have a very heavy snow load. Hence, the pitch of the roof. It's not very high. So you notice the pitch of the roof here, guys. The pitch of the roof here in North Carolina doesn't need to be so steep. If you live in a mountainous state or a place that gets a lot of snow, you might have a little bit higher of a pitch. I think this is a 112 pitch or a 212 pitch. I'll scroll text across there so you guys understand. Now you'll see a come-along right here. This come-along is strapped in, and that's helping to secure this building in place. So guys, something else you need to know, and these guys are getting ready to put the ridge cap on. This is called mastic. It comes in rolls like this right here, and that helps to seal your ridge cap into place. Each one of these roofing panels, and you'll get a shot of the roof here with the drone in just a second, that each one has mastic that is sealing it, and that's to prevent wind lift. So in other words, if wind gets underneath this, it's not only screwed, but it's kind of glued with this mastic tape, and that helps to prevent wind lift. And these guys are installing the mastic tape right here on these roof panels. This is the same material that we're using on the roof. You can see it right there. Cool. These guys have got a couple already done right here. They're getting ready to take this up on the roof. You'll see the finished product right here. Just like so. So see all that? That's important, guys. Absolutely important. We'll get you some drone shots of the roof right now. Now you guys can see the roof is a corrugated steel. It's a little bit of a different type of steel panel than the sidewall panel. It's a little bit more robust, it's a little bit tougher, and it's more reflective. So in other words, we wanted a reflective surface to prevent heat from absorbing into this building. And this will stay pretty cool throughout most of the summer, as long as it's not extremely hot. So we'll probably have at least a 10 degree, maybe a 15 degree difference. So in final inspection, what you gotta do is get in here and you gotta look and just double check your bolts, double check everything, make sure there's no sag in these supports right here. You gotta make sure there's no sag there, or very little sag, and no sag up here in the ones that are in the roof also. You need to make sure that you don't see light. And I saw a little bit of something that needs to be addressed right here. Pretty simple. You can see a little bit of light. Where you can see light, that's where air will come through. So We need to make sure that they address that. Any little tears in this insulation also need to be addressed, and that comes with the building package, as well as a bunch of screws, nuts, and bolts. And you'll have some screws, nuts, and bolts left over. You also want to look at what's left over. So when they get done, you want to look and see how many girders, how many beams, how much stuff do we have left over, and make sure that there's not a big pile of leftover parts, because you ordered this building engineered. So take your plans and walk that building. That's the benefit of doing a steel building like this. When you get a set of engineered plans, there's no deviation from the plan. So you really have to check your plans over, make sure you walk through. And if you are acting as a general contractor on your building purchase in this build, just like I am, then you need to be well informed. So watching videos like this will absolutely help you, and talking to a construction expert like Toby with DWS Buildings. When we had him in here, he'll walk over this and he'll tell me anything that might be wrong, and they'll take care of it. Absolutely. Great people, good company. Now, up here on the roof, you also want to get up on the roof and you want to inspect it. Now, we're going to inspect it from the drone, but we want to look and see if there are any screws that have the heads popped off. These are people. This is real. This is real life, and everything's not going to be exactly perfect all the time, guys. So you have to think about that. There is room for human error, and that human error does occur. So if they put in a screw and they break the head off, they need to remove that screw and put a bigger one in, okay? There are different types of screws for different types of panels right here. I'm trying to find some screws so you guys can get a good visual on this. Let me grab one. So if you've got a reputable company building your building, you need to know that your screws need to be color matched, okay? So in other words, we've got color matched screws for the barn red color. We've got color matched screws for the tan color. And that's the only two colors here aside from a little bit of white trim. Now up on the roof, we have a special type of screw. This is a really heavy duty galvanized screw. And this one actually is painted right here. And it has a rubber gasket in there. Not like the cheap screws, these are expensive. The gasket is inset, it's inlaid in there. You guys can see that hopefully with a little close-up. There's an inlaid rubber gasket down there, so you cannot over tighten, squish the gasket and make it squirt out and render it ineffective. That's something that you don't get with every contractor and with every building that you order. So be sure you know that. These screws are extremely important. That is the lifeblood of your building, and your roof is the lifeblood of your building. Now you might be looking at these windows and doors thinking, nah, Josh, this isn't finished, this isn't done. Well, it's up to me as the contractor handling this, a general contractor that's handling this for my own use. I will have to come back in here and I'll have to put in some spray foam that's specifically designed for windows and doors, and we'll seal these off and we'll frame those in and we'll make it all absolutely perfect and airtight. Big buildings like this are really hard to make extremely airtight. So as time goes on, we'll show you guys different ways. And a lot of folks say, man, you should have used spray-in insulation. Well, that's not the program that we're working with here. That's not the type of building that we're working with here. And I'm told you don't want to use spray insulation as your vapor barrier. That plastic sheeting, that is your vapor barrier. We want to keep humidity, moisture, and wind and weather out and keep it dry, comfortable, and cool inside. Cool. Awesome stuff, guys. Well, folks, let me know what you think. Please pound that like button if you enjoyed this video. If you learned a little bit, ask any questions you might have. Both me and the contractor that's building this building will be looking at your questions, so please ask away. And these guys are hardworking guys, so we're gonna see if we can get them to do the woo. Hey guys, can y'all do the woo? Ready? Woo! I got one of them. Well, guys, thanks a lot for joining me here on the Stoney Ridge. This is the mega shop. It's coming along. It's almost done. Next thing we got to do, a little bit of trim, gutters go on, then the concrete apron gets poured around here, and we'll show you guys all that. Got some excavating to do. I've got to plumb in where my gutters go down, and man, there's just so much more work. There are years worth of work that's going to have to go into this building to get it just exactly the way we want it. Thanks, guys. Please pound that like button. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this helps you on your venture building your next shop project. Take care. Come on down to the Stoney Ridge. Bring your wife and bring your kids. We're living life here.